Kevin Klein, counselor for Charleswood, Tuxedo, and Westwood. Kevin, hello.
How are you?
I'm great. Thanks a lot for coming on. So yesterday was Earth Day, and we're talking about composting, and we're talking about this break for taxpayers that compost. And somebody sent me a text yesterday and said, well, I think that fell through. And I did some digging this morning, and this was your idea, and EPC, Mayor Brian Bowman's EPC, said no to the idea, eh?
Well, it is where ideas go to die, and that inner circle that does a very good job at that. But yeah, this is unfortunate, and it's one of the fundamental problems we have. Because I truly believe that it was an idea that I received from talking to others, talking to residents, talking to stakeholders, talking to other jurisdictions. Yeah. Most cities have composting pickup. We're looking at it right now, but of course we're being told it's going to cost millions, right? We're going to have to put it on the bills of taxpayers. Yeah. So my thought was, well, what if we did home composting and enticed people, and it could work in tandem with other projects? But there was no discussion. There was no debate. I didn't get asked one question, simply no.
So the idea was, if you compost at home, we'll give you a $100 break at tax time.
Right, that was the concept, and you would hope that if that's too much, which I don't think it is, because right now over 40% of the waste at Brady is organic waste, and it costs us money not only to collect it, but to manage the load at Brady, the long-term management of Brady, the environmental effects of that. So it would really be cost neutral, because if we saved, or if it cost us $1 million, let's say, to give to residents who were composting, and we saved $1 million, it's cost neutral. And the cost to do it is covered under the Green Infrastructure Reserve Fund. So it wouldn't take any money to begin the program. And I received calls from people all over the city that thought, I would do it for $100. Maybe it was going to be $50. But that's what negotiating is all about. They didn't even want to negotiate it. Because, that good ideas just have no place at Winnipeg City Hall.
I like the idea, and I'll tell you, and I even said this yesterday before I knew that this was your motion. I like the idea because it also, gets people involved. It encourages people, and they save a couple of bucks at tax time.
Exactly, and then it also helps the next generation of homeowners. Now, and I know that people that live in apartments wouldn't benefit from that, but we could put programs together. We could work with multifamily residences. We could work with building management companies. And what about restaurants? Think of all the food that gets thrown away in restaurants and the organic waste that goes to the landfill. Let's put a program together for them. Let's work together to meet these. We have very aggressive and very high green goals for the city of Winnipeg. And it makes for a wonderful speech at a podium and a headline. But if we're not going to do anything about them, they're meaningless.
So when an idea like this, just maybe take us behind the velvet rope for a second, Kevin. So when an idea like this goes to EPC, you're not there to present the idea or to answer any questions, but I guess if they have questions, they email them to you. Is that how it works?
Well, I could be there to answer questions, but I have stopped appearing at EPC because it really has become it's not the most respectable place to be because they don't normally ask you questions. You have 10 minutes to speak, and it's almost like I have to go and kneel before Czar to talk about my idea and hope that my colleagues who are elected the same way I am would agree with me instead of having a conversation with them like adults. And we can tell that if you watch the tape, and I'll have it on my YouTube channel, that they didn't even mention the motion. They just said what number it was, and immediately all of them said no.
And there was no discussion about it? There was no talk of the idea, good, bad, indifferent?
Nothing. Not a word was said. So obviously it was predetermined or prearranged to be a no. And I already know that that's how they do that. And you can, if I talk to some colleagues that I have on EPC, I said, why didn't you just fight for it a little bit? Well, I have to pick my battles. If the mayor doesn't want it to go through, or if Gillingham or somebody doesn't, I'm not going to fight it. And to me, it's like, well, this is wrong because I didn't enter politics to go back to high school. I'm there to get things done. We have to focus on getting results for the city of Winnipeg, and we're not getting anything done. And it's great. Everyone can have I would do this and I would do that and I'm going to change. But what are you going to do? We have to take action. What are the actions? And that's what this was an idea to really jumpstart a program. And I think it would have worked.
I like the idea. I said it yesterday before I knew you had anything to do with it. Another thing I wanted to ask you about, Marcus Chambers, Councillor Marcus Chambers, one of your council colleagues, was on the other day. I had him on reacting to the Chauvin verdict in Minneapolis, and I feel like the videos from that case were key. And so I asked him what's going on with police-worn body cams here, and somebody, again, reminded me that was your motion, which was rejected, and the person says that Chambers actually voted against it at that time, but he told me this week he likes the idea. We just got to figure out a way to pay for it. So,
yeah, well, you know what? We should people jump on and off bandwagons all the time, I guess. My colleague, Councillor Chambers, did not support it. I know he was in the media saying, I haven't heard any residents tell me that this is needed. It's too much money. It's too expensive. There's all kinds of reasons why. And, I'm starting to think that the only reason is that it's because I'm putting it forward, because this makes sense. And I know there's a lot of people out there that think we can't put any more investing into the police. Let me tell you something. Body cameras is an investment for residents.
Yeah.
That's what it's an investment for, and it's an investment in public safety. If you don't want to invest $2 or $3 million into public safety, but you're okay with our finance chair and our mayor and everybody else investing $4, $5, $6 million into more legal fees, we have a problem.
Yeah, I think especially after that, especially after the Chauvin verdict and the killing, the murder of George Floyd, I can't imagine not being in favor of having body cams on police officers, because what we see in a city like Minneapolis with black people, we see here with Indigenous people, and I'm not saying a videotape answers all the questions, but it would certainly answer some of the questions that people have after something happens.
I agree 100%. That's why people have dash cams now, for goodness sake.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and quickly, and we're okay with that. So.
Sure. Right. And quickly, because I'm almost out of time here, Kevin, I did want to ask you about COVID-19. We had Drs. Atwell and Reimer today. Mayor Bowman has said that he thinks the province should get tougher on COVID-19 as we see this third wave and more variants of concern, more cases, and the numbers climbing. Any thoughts on whether or not current restrictions are enough, or are you a full lockdown fan? Any thoughts at all?
It's the $1 billion question. I think if you could answer that question, you would be a billionaire. But look, I think first of all that we have to focus on what's best for Manitobans and Winnipeggers. I wish the feds would shut down air travel, period, even if you do it for 4 weeks. Australia did it for a period of time. It helped them. New Zealand did it. It benefited them. And we should stop cross-border travel right now. I'm concerned about Manitobans and Winnipeggers. I want our economy to be strong. I don't want to see more people locked down to the extent that we are. And I don't say that because of any, conspiracy theories, because of mental health. Like I talk to a lot of my friends that have just had enough. And I'm worried about them. I'm worried. And, I talk to seniors that have just had enough. They just don't want to do it anymore. So why wouldn't we lock down our borders? We can live amongst ourselves for 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Let's keep the possibility of the pandemic growing in Manitoba by shutting the doors and saying, you know what? We'll get back to you in a few months. But right now, we're looking out for us. We're looking out for Manitobans. And I don't know why the Prime Minister, he's got a big job. And I don't want to say anything negative, but shut down the borders. You can still have air cargo coming and going, because this has been over a year now. And every time I hear about it, this is travel related. This is travel related. I think it's an easy fix.
Yeah. India, Pakistan, they've shut down flights for a month, but you'd like to see it right across the board. And of the listeners to my show that I hear from, text messages and emails primarily, that's the big one. They say, why are the provincial borders open? Why are people traveling in and out of Manitoba? So I think a lot of people agree with you. Kevin Klein, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Have a great weekend.
You too, Kevin. Thanks a lot. Kevin is the councillor for Charleswood, Tuxedo, and Westwood. 2:16. Quick break.